The Galactic Council's ultimatum. The Galactic Council chamber was abuzz with heated debate. Representatives from a dozen star-spanning civilizations argued back and forth, their voices growing louder with each exchange. At the center of the controversy was a brash newcomer to the galactic stage, humanity. In a mere century since developing faster than light travel, the humans had rapidly expanded, establishing colonies and outposts across a wide swath of space. Their military, hardened by conflicts on Earth, had proven both cunning and tenacious in brushfire skirmishes with other species. The Council, long used to order and stability, saw the humans as a disruptive influence that needed to be contained. "They are little better than savages," the Zornak delegate hissed, his scales rippling with agitation. "They refuse to abide by Council directives, and their expansion shows no signs of slowing. If we do not rein them in now, they could destabilize the entire sector." "Agreed," said the Valaxian representative, her feathered crest quivering. "But we must tread carefully. Their technology may be primitive by our standards, but their warriors have proven formidable. Open conflict could prove costly." The debate raged on until finally, the Council speaker called for a vote. The resolution passed, albeit narrowly. Humanity would be given an ultimatum: join the galactic community as a junior member, with all the restrictions and oversight that entailed, or face the Council's wrath. A delegation was dispatched to deliver the message. On Earth, the Council's demands were met with a mix of outrage and contempt. Hawks argued that capitulating would mean the end of humanity's autonomy. Doves counseled that resisting the Council was futile. The gulf in power was simply too vast. As protests and counter-protests raged across the planet, Earth's leaders convened an emergency summit to formulate a response. The debates were long and heated, but in the end, the Hawks carried the day. Humanity would not bow to outside demands. They had not struggled up from the muck of their homeworld, had not cast off the shackles of scarcity and war, only to bend the knee now. If the Council wanted submission, they would have to come and take it. A response was broadcast on all frequencies, a simple declaration that would decide the fate of worlds. To the Galactic Council, "We reject your ultimatum. Humanity will continue to forge its own path. Any attempt to constrain us will be met with fierce resistance. You have been warned." The lines had been drawn. The first interstellar war was about to begin, and it would shake the galaxy to its foundations. Humanity's defiant response. The Council delegation stared at the human ambassador in shock. They had expected protests, even a grudging acceptance of their demands. But this was unprecedented. "You would defy the Council's edict?" the head delegate asked, his voice trembling with a mix of outrage and disbelief. "Do you understand the consequences of such an action?" The human ambassador, a tall, lean man with steel-gray hair and piercing blue eyes, met the delegate's gaze unflinchingly. "We understand perfectly, and we reject your authority over us. Humanity will not be dictated to by outsiders, no matter how powerful they believe themselves to be." With that, the ambassador turned on his heel and strode out of the chamber, leaving a stunned silence in his wake. The Council delegates looked to one another, their expressions ranging from anger to fear. Never before had a species so openly defied them. It was an act that could not go unanswered. Word of humanity's defiance spread quickly across the galaxy. Some species expressed admiration for the humans' boldness, while others decried their foolishness. The Council, for its part, wasted no time in marshaling its forces. Fleets were recalled from far-flung patrols, armies were mobilized, and war plans were drawn up. The humans would be made an example of, their resistance crushed swiftly and decisively. On Earth and its colonies, the response to the Council's ultimatum was one of grim determination. Long mothballed warships were reactivated, weapons factories worked around the clock, and recruitment centers were flooded with volunteers. In secret labs, scientists and engineers worked feverishly on new technologies that could give humanity an edge against the Council's advanced weaponry. But even as the drums of war beat ever louder, There were those who held out hope for a peaceful resolution. A small but vocal minority argued that war with the Council was unwinnable, that humanity should seek a diplomatic solution before it was too late. Their pleas fell on deaf ears. The die had been cast, and there would be no turning back. As the two sides girded for battle, an uneasy quiet settled over the galaxy. It was the calm before the storm, a holding of breath before the plunge into the abyss. Soon, the first shots would be fired, and the fate of worlds would be decided in the crucible of war. The opening shots. The attack came without warning. One moment, the human colony on Epsilon Eridani was going about its business. The next, the sky was filled with the angular shapes of Council warships. Plasma bolts rained down on cities and defense installations, sowing chaos and destruction in their wake. But the colonists were not caught entirely unprepared. In the years since the Council's ultimatum, they had fortified their settlements and trained extensively in guerrilla warfare. As the invaders landed and began to advance, they were met with fierce resistance. Human defenders used the colony's rugged terrain to their advantage, ambushing Council forces in narrow canyons and dense forests. In orbit, human warships engaged the Council fleet, using innovative tactics and unconventional weapons to level the playing field. Swarms of nimble attack craft harried the larger Council vessels, darting in to launch devastating close-range strikes before retreating behind the cover of their mothership's point defense screens. The battles were fierce and bloody, but against all odds, the humans held their ground. News of their valiant stand spread like wildfire across the colonies and back to Earth. The stories of heroism and sacrifice stirred the hearts of people across the planet, galvanizing support for the war effort. Similar scenes played out on a dozen other colony worlds as the Council pressed its offensive. On some, the invaders made significant gains, their superior numbers and technology allowing them to grind down the human defenders. But on others, the humans not only held fast but managed to drive the Council back, securing stunning against the odds victories. Back on Earth, the news from the front lines was greeted with a mix of pride and trepidation. While the colony's brave defense was cause for celebration, everyone knew that the true test was yet to come. The Council had thus far committed only a fraction of its strength to the offensive. When the full might of the galactic community was brought to bear, would humanity's defiance endure? In the halls of power, Earth's leaders debated strategy and allocation of resources. Some argued for a focus on shoring up the colony's defenses, while others advocated for taking the fight to the enemy. But all agreed on one thing: the war was entering a critical phase, and the decisions made in the coming days and weeks would shape the course of the conflict and humanity's destiny. As the battles raged on far-flung worlds, the people of Earth watched and waited, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that the true test of their resolve was still to come. Turning the tide. In a nondescript facility hidden deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, a team of humanity's brightest scientists and engineers huddled around a strange device. It was the product of years of secret research, a weapon that could change the course of the war. Dr. Elena Navarro, the project lead, made a final check of the readings before nodding to her team. "It's ready. Activate the device." There was a low hum as the machine came to life, building rapidly in intensity until it reached a crescendo. Then, with a blinding flash, an energy pulse erupted from the device, washing over the assembled researchers and expanding outward through the facility's walls. Aboard the Council dreadnought, Inexorable Will, Admiral Zaxxas was preparing to launch a massive assault on the human colony of New Carthage when alarms began blaring across the bridge. "Report," he barked. "Admiral, our systems are shutting down," a technician replied, panic edging into his voice. "Weapons, shields, propulsion. Everything is going offline." Similar scenes played out across the Council fleet as the human weapon took effect, plunging the mighty warships into disarray. On the planet below, human forces watched in amazement as the Council vessels began to drift aimlessly, their lights winking out one by one. It was an opportunity they had scarcely dared to dream of, and they wasted no time in seizing it. Strike teams equipped with portable versions of the new weapon launched daring raids on the disabled council ships, capturing valuable technology and intelligence. On the ground, human forces went on the offensive, driving the invaders back and liberating occupied settlements. News of the stunning victory spread quickly, emboldening resistance forces on other colony worlds. Covered human operatives smuggled copies of the new weapon to embattled defenders, turning the tide of battle on a dozen fronts. The Council, reeling from the sudden reversal, regrouped in their core systems. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock to devise countermeasures to the human weapon, while strategists debated the best course of action. Some advocated for a renewed offensive, arguing that the humans' advantage could not last forever. Others counseled caution, warning that another defeat could irreparably damage the Council's prestige and authority. As the debate raged, the humans pressed their advantage. Bolstered by their victories and the knowledge that they now possessed a potent equalizer, they launched increasingly bold strikes into Council space, targeting key infrastructure and sowing chaos behind enemy lines. The once invincible Council now found itself on the defensive, struggling to hold back the surging tide of human aggression. The balance of power had shifted, and the galaxy watched with bated breath to see which side would emerge victorious in this clash of civilizations. Striking back, emboldened by their string of victories, Earth's leaders debated their next move. Some advocated for a cautious approach, focusing on consolidating their gains and fortifying their positions. But others, flush with confidence and eager to press their advantage, argued for a bolder course of action. "We have them on the ropes," Admiral Elena Navarro declared, her voice filled with conviction. "Now is the time to strike, to take the fight to the enemy's doorstep before they have a chance to recover." The plan she outlined was audacious in the extreme. Intelligence operatives had uncovered the location of a secret Council shipyard deep in their core systems. The facility was heavily defended, but if it could be destroyed, it would deal a crippling blow to the Council's ability to wage war. The risks were enormous. The shipyard was located in the heart of Council space, and any attack would have to contend with the full might of their defenses. But the potential rewards were equally great. If successful, the operation could shift the balance of power decisively in humanity's favor. After a heated debate, Earth's leaders gave the go-ahead. A strike force was assembled, comprising the best ships and crews from across the human fleet. They would have to fight their way through Council space, braving enemy patrols and defenses, to reach their target. As the fleet set out, people across Earth and its colonies watched with a mix of hope and trepidation. The fate of the war, and of humanity itself, hung in the balance. The journey to the Council shipyard was fraught with danger. The human fleet had to navigate through hostile territory, engaging in a series of running battles with enemy forces. Losses mounted on both sides, but the humans pressed forward, driven by a grim determination to see their mission through. As they neared their target, the fleet's sensors detected a massive energy signature, a Council battle fleet, even larger than their own, guarding the approach to the shipyard. Admiral Navarro knew that they were outmatched, but retreat was not an option. The shipyard had to be destroyed, no matter the cost. In a daring gambit, the human fleet split into two groups. One would engage the Council ships head-on, drawing their fire and buying time for the other to slip through and attack the shipyard directly. It was a risky ploy, but it was the only chance they had. The battle that ensued was titanic in scale, the two fleets trading devastating blows as they clashed amid the stars. The humans fought with a ferocity born of desperation, their ships dancing through the enemy formation, unleashing withering barrages of fire. As the main fleet kept the Council ships occupied, the strike group raced towards the shipyard, dodging and weaving through the defensive fire. As they neared their target, they unleashed a salvo of the latest human weapons, the pulses of energy ripping through the shipyard's shields and hull. Secondary explosions bloomed across the facility's surface as the human weapons found their mark, setting off a chain reaction that tore the shipyard apart from within. In a final cataclysmic blast, the station erupted into a miniature sun, the shockwave buffeting the nearby ships and lighting up the void. Against all odds, the human plan had succeeded. The Council's shipyard, and with it a significant portion of their military might, had been reduced to a mass of shattered debris. The tide of the war had turned once more, and this time it would not be so easily reversed. A new balance of power. In the wake of the shipyard's destruction, the Galactic Council was thrown into disarray. The loss of the facility, and of the fleet defending it, was a blow from which they could not easily recover. Their military machine, once thought unstoppable, had been dealt a crippling blow. As news of the humans' victory spread, long subjugated species across the galaxy took heart. Inspired by the humans' example, they rose up against their council overlords, sparking rebellions and insurgencies on 100 worlds. The council, already reeling from their defeats at human hands, now found themselves beset on all sides. Desperate to stem the tide, the council's leadership sued for peace. A delegation was dispatched to Earth to negotiate an end to hostilities. But the humans, emboldened by their triumphs and wary of council treachery, drove a hard bargain. The resulting treaty was a testament to humanity's newfound strength and influence. The Council was forced to recognize Earth and its colonies as a sovereign power, equal in status to any in the galaxy. Human territory was declared inviolable, and any further aggression would be met with the full force of human might. But the humans didn't stop there. They demanded reparations for the damage inflicted by the Council's war, as well as a say in galactic affairs commensurate with their power. The Council, recognizing that they were in no position to refuse, reluctantly agreed. On Earth and across its colonies, the news of the treaty was met with jubilation. Crowds poured into the streets, celebrating the victory and the dawn of a new era. But amidst the festivities, Earth's leaders struck a note of caution. "We have won a great victory," President Ayana Nakamura said in a televised address to the nation. "But we must not become complacent. The galaxy is a dangerous place, and there will always be those who seek to challenge us. We must remain vigilant and continue to build our strength so that we may never again be at the mercy of others." In the years that followed, humanity continued to expand and prosper, becoming a major player on the galactic stage. They formed alliances with other species who had thrown off the Council's yoke, creating a new balance of power that kept the peace and promoted cooperation. Earth became a beacon of hope and inspiration for all those who yearned for freedom and self-determination. The story of humanity's rise, of their refusal to submit to tyranny, passed into legend, a shining example of what could be achieved through courage. Ingenue copyright law's response was limited as it hit the maximum length allowed at this time. There is the continuation of the story, and an indomitable will. But even as they basked in the glow of their triumphs, Earth's leaders never forgot the lessons of the war. They continued to invest in their military, honing their skills, and developing new technologies to ensure that they would always be ready to defend their hard-won freedom. And so, as the galaxy turned and new challenges and opportunities arose, humanity stood tall among the stars, a testament to the power of determination and the unquenchable human spirit. They had faced the worst the universe could throw at them and emerged stronger for it, a force to be reckoned with and an example to all who aspired to forge their own destiny. In the end, the Galactic Council's ultimatum, meant to cow and subdue, had instead ignited a fire that would not be extinguished. Humanity had declared to the cosmos in no uncertain terms, "We will not be ruled, we will not be subjugated, we will not go quietly into the night. We will fight, we will strive, we will rise." And rise they did, to heights undreamed of, and to a future bright with promise. For in the face of adversity, in the crucible of war, humanity had discovered the true measure of their strength, and they would never again let it be questioned. As the saying goes, per aspera ad astra, through hardships to the stars. Humanity had walked through the fire and emerged on the other side, tempered and strong. And now, the stars were theirs to explore, to conquer, to make their own. The galaxy would never be the same. A new power had risen, a new chapter had begun, and at the center of it all was a small blue-green world and the indomitable species that called it home. Humanity had arrived, and they were here to stay.